Well, we just reviewed how to use the system, what all its components are, and how to do some basic troubleshooting. I'd like to take a second to show you how to hook up a video source. So I've taken this opportunity to unhook the satellite receiver from the system. And I'm going to show you how to hook it up. It's really simple. However, one of the key points here is before you hook up any video source, game console, Blu-ray player, doesn't matter. Make sure the power is off. Both when you hook it up or if you want to unhook it, make sure the power is off. It's absolutely critical that that happens. So to do that, I'm going to turn this satellite receiver around. And on any device that has HDMI, you'll be able to use with this system. And it'll be clearly labeled on the back, HDMI. Sort of a rectangular plug-in. That's what the end looks like. And all we do is we slide it in, make sure it's in all the way, and that will allow your video and your audio to go to your television set. So after we've done that, turn this around and push it in. Next, we can apply the power. I'll do that before we go on to the next step because it does take a little bit for this satellite receiver to power up. So I've just basically got a power plug in over here. I'll plug it in and we should see the light up. And we'll talk about one other thing before we actually test it to see if it works. So when we were in the living room earlier and I was showing you the remote controls, we talked about the remote control signal going through the Balum, that little box underneath the TV, and being transferred up here to the 4x4 matrix switch. Well, now we need to get that remote control signal from the matrix switch into whatever device you want to remote control. In this case, the satellite receiver. We have this little unit. It's called an infrared emitter. And basically, this acts as your remote control. It takes the remote control signal through the Balum, through the network cables, into the 4x4 matrix switch and out here. Now, depending on your device, some devices you can see the remote control viewport, so to say, you know, where the infrared light goes in, and other devices you can't see so good. So like on this receiver, we can see that, yeah, it's pretty obvious that's where it goes. And we would take this, we put this plate underneath so that the stand holds it, and just have the infrared emitter aimed right at that hole. And that's all we have to do. Now, on a Blu-ray player, like this one in particular, I'll bend this down a little bit, you can't really see a hole there too well. You may have to play with placement of the emitter to get it working good, or you may want to take a flashlight and shine a bright flashlight on the faceplate, and you can usually see an open hole through the dark colored plastic, and that's usually where the infrared signal goes into the system. So once you've done that, that concludes hooking up a device. It's that simple. It's a power cable, it's the HDMI cable, and it's putting your remote control in front of it. Now, of course, if you have a game console, you may not even need to use this infrared emitter. So, and now that that's working, we can go to our second lounge, which happens to be the TV up here. And you can see that input number 2 is live. We'll hit select. And in a couple seconds, we should have our satellite receiver video on the screen. Now, I don't have a dish hooked to it, so that's all we're going to get at the moment. But you can see that it works. Now, notice up here, you see number 2 is red on all these. That means the device is on. Well, what happens if I unplug the power to the satellite receiver? You can see that number 2 disappears. So that way you know if the device is correctly connected to the HDMI cable. If after plugging in the HDMI cable you still don't see the appropriate input light turn red, perhaps maybe you have a bad cable. That would be the first thing I try. Other than that, power cycling, all the power in the RV. Shut it off for 30 seconds, then plug it back in. That might fix your problem as well. HDMI is a little picky when you start unplugging and plugging things in. So it's best to always plug stuff in and unplug it when the power is off. That'll be your easiest way. Now, another little helpful troubleshooting tip, and that actually something we got today. We were trying to get this remote control to work, and the batteries were dead. Always check your batteries. So get fresh batteries in there, make sure that's working. Make sure you power cycle the RV in case you have problems. Make sure all your plugins are in good. Your HDMI cables are plugged in all the way. Maybe they came loose driving down the road. I can't think of anything else. Can you guys think of anything? Did we miss anything? Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for taking the time and watching this video, and happy capping.